You've seen it. That couple that makes you do a double take. One of them looks like they just walked off a magazine cover, and the other, well, let's just say they're more unique looking. And you can't help but wonder, how did that happen? Maybe you've caught yourself staring a little too long at the grocery store, or scrolling through someone's Instagram thinking, wait, that's their partner? Here's the thing though, your brain is asking the wrong question, because what you're witnessing isn't some cosmic glitch in the dating matrix. There's actually a fascinating psychology behind why conventionally attractive people fall for people's society labels as less attractive. And by the end of this, you might realize you've been measuring attraction with the wrong ruler your entire life. Let's start with the most powerful force in human connection, the one that catches people completely off guard. There's this phenomenon psychologists call the familiarity effect, but it goes way deeper than that. Picture this. There's a guy, let's call him Derek. Derek is objectively good-looking, like annoyingly symmetrical face, great jawline, the whole package. He could probably date models if he wanted to. But Derek is head over heels for Maya. And Maya, well, she's got a crooked smile, uneven features, and what most people would call an acquired taste kind of face. But here's what everyone else doesn't see. Maya makes Derek laugh until he can't breathe. She remembers the story he told 3 months ago about his childhood dog. She notices when he's pretending to be okay but isn't. And somewhere along the way, Derek's brain rewired itself. Every time he looks at Maya, his brain doesn't register features. It registers safety, comfort, joy, home. This is the intimacy effect in action. When you spend deep, meaningful time with someone, when they become woven into the fabric of your daily life, your brain literally starts perceiving them differently. Their face becomes associated with positive emotions, with laughter, with the feeling of being truly seen. And suddenly, what everyone else sees as average or unattractive, you see as the most beautiful face in the world. It's not that Derek is lying to himself, it's that his brain has learned a different definition of beauty, one that has nothing to do with symmetry and everything to do with emotional resonance. Maybe you've experienced this yourself, that friend who wasn't your type at all, until one day you looked at them and thought, wait, when did they become attractive? That's not random, that's your brain rewriting the rules.
Then there's the confidence phenomenon, and this one will mess with everything you thought you knew about attraction. Imagine walking into a party. There's someone in the corner who's fine, not turning heads, not stopping traffic, but they're telling a story, and everyone around them is leaning in, laughing, completely captivated. They move through the room like they own it, not in an arrogant way, but in this magnetic, self-assured way. They make eye contact, they listen, they take up space without apologizing for it. And suddenly, the hottest person at the party is walking toward them, not toward the other conventionally attractive people, toward them. Here's what's happening. Confidence triggers something primal in the human brain. When someone carries themselves with genuine self-assurance, when they're comfortable in their own skin, regardless of how that skin looks, they send out a signal that says, I have value, I know my worth, and that signal is intoxicating. Because let's be real, we've all met gorgeous people who are so insecure, so desperate for validation, that being around them is exhausting. Their attractiveness almost becomes irrelevant because the energy they give off is draining. But someone who's physically average yet radiates self-assuredness, they become a challenge, a mystery. The hot person thinks, why are they so confident? What do they know that I don't? And just like that, the dynamic flips. The person society deemed less attractive has become the prize. It's not about looks anymore, it's about presence. And presence, my friend, trumps pretty every single time. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Some people are actively turned off by conventional beauty. Sounds crazy, right? Stay with me. There's this woman, let's call her Sophia. Sophia is stunning, like stop-traffic gorgeous, and she's dated other beautiful people before, but every relationship felt hollow, surface level, like they were both just admiring each other in the mirror, but never actually connecting. Then she meets James. James, short, balding, has a dad bod, and dresses like he shops exclusively at thrift stores from 1987. But James is real. He's not performing, he's not trying to be anyone other than who he is. And for the first time in her life, Sophia feels like she can exhale. She doesn't have to maintain a perfect image. She can be messy, vulnerable, human. This is the authenticity attraction. Some people, especially those who've been burned by superficial relationships, start craving depth over dazzle. They're tired of the performance, the Instagram-perfect facade, the constant competition of who's hotter. They want someone who sees past their looks and loves the messy, complicated, real person underneath. And often, that person isn't conventionally attractive because they've never relied on their looks to get by. They've had to develop personality, humor, emotional intelligence, and actual substance. They've become interesting because they've had to be. And for someone drowning in shallow connections, that depth is like finding water in a desert. Suddenly, the hot person realizes that dating someone ugly is actually the most liberating thing they've ever done, because for the first time, they're being loved for who they are, not what they look like. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the psychological safety factor. Here's a scenario you might recognize. There's this guy, Marcus. Marcus is ridiculously attractive. He knows it. Everyone knows it. And because of that, he's been burned. People want to be seen with him. They want to date the hot guy for status, for bragging rights, for their own ego boost. But nobody sees Marcus. Nobody cares about his love of obscure documentaries, or his complicated relationship with his father, or the fact that he's terrified of failure. Then he meets someone who isn't conventionally attractive, and something shifts. This person doesn't treat him like a trophy. They're not trying to possess him or show him off. They just like him, for him. And maybe, for the first time, Marcus feels safe. This is huge. When you're very attractive, you often develop a hypervigilance about people's intentions. Are they with me or for how I look? Will they leave when I age, when I'm not perfect? But when you date someone who isn't conventionally attractive, there's this unspoken understanding that the relationship isn't built on looks. It can't be. Which means it must be built on something real, something deeper. And that creates a foundation of trust and security that conventionally beautiful couples sometimes struggle to find. The hot person finally gets to be human, flawed, imperfect, and still loved. That's not settling, that's freedom. And here's the final twist, the one nobody talks about. Some people simply don't see attractiveness the way society does. Their brain is wired differently. They're drawn to quirky features, unique faces, imperfections that tell a story. That gap in someone's teeth isn't a flaw, it's character. That crooked nose isn't unattractive, it's interesting. These people look at faces the way art collectors look at paintings. They're not looking for symmetry, they're looking for souls, for something that moves them. And conventional beauty? It bores them. It feels generic, mass-produced. They want the one-of-a-kind piece that nobody else understands, and when they find it, they hold on tight. So here's what we've learned. The hot person dating the ugly person isn't confused. They're not settling. They're not broken. They've just discovered something that most people spend their whole lives missing. Attraction is about so much more than appearances. It's about how someone makes you feel, how they see you, how they show up, the safety they create, the depth they offer, the authenticity they embody. And once you experience that kind of connection, conventional beauty starts to feel irrelevant, shallow, almost boring. So ask yourself this: how are you measuring attraction? Are you still stuck on the surface, or have you learned to see deeper? And that person you thought was out of someone's league, maybe you're just measuring with the wrong ruler. Maybe they're exactly where they belong, with someone who sees them for what they truly are, beautiful in all the ways that actually matter. Which type resonates with you?
Are you the person who's learned to see beauty differently, or are you still figuring it out? Either way, you're not alone. We're all just trying to understand this strange, wonderful, complicated thing called attraction. And sometimes the best relationships are the ones that don't make sense to anyone else except the two people in them.